Welcome to episode 19 of Birds vs. Boys, where the Birds are in first place in the NFC East with a record of 2-4-1, and my Dallas Cowboys sit in third place at 2-5. This could be the most pathetic start to a division that has ever been, and the perfect year for us to start a podcast called Birds vs. Boys. But we are here. We are brought to you by Stateside Vodka, as always. And I am here, even though I don't want to be, because the Dallas Cowboys are the worst team in the history of the NFL. They have no heart, and they just don't care. KMess with you. And as always, well, he's supposed to be here, but if you're watching on YouTube, my co-host, Aidan Powers, is not at his microphone. Aidan, are you there?
I'm coming.
He's around. Oh, Aidan has...
Hold on. All right, I'm here. Aidan's here. All right. And I'm dressed as a mummy if you're watching on YouTube, because just like mummies, the Eagles are back from the fucking dead. We are back. We were almost dead, but now we're not. And we were kind of dead, and we still might be a little bit dead, but we are back. Happy Halloween from Carson Wentz and me.
Mummy Aidan Powers. That's phenomenal. At first I thought you were Andy Dalton with like wrappings around your head because of the concussion and because your red hair, but you are a eagle mummy.
I'm a mummy. I am back from the dead. You tried to kill us. They all tried to kill us. They wrapped us up, and we got out of the tomb with 5 minutes left in the game, down 2 scores, and Carson brought this lifeless corpse back to life to haunt the NFC East. Am I even talking into the microphone? I legitimately cannot see.
Yes, you are talking directly into the microphone, and The Mummy is one of my favorite Nicolas Cage movies of all time. So
it's also one of the best Scooby-Doos.
Before we go any further, KMess and The Mummy are going to be joined by our producer Vince, because he has something to share with us that we have no idea what it is. I believe Mr. Mummy is going to have to take his mummy mask off to watch. So if you are listening on Apple, Spotify, Google, or wherever you listen to, also pop over to our YouTube page, Birds vs. Boys, to watch said video that we are about to watch.
All right, so I don't know if you guys remember, but in our group chat, I made a promise for Hate Week a few weeks ago, and I never followed up on it. I didn't want to mention it until it was here, so I'm just going to play this without comment.
No comment. Play the video.
No sports, just the NFL all weekend, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. They're going to lock Chris Hansen
here of Hansen versus Predators to catch a predator and have a seat with Chris Hansen. Now I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds versus Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Yep. Please, stop doing dumb things. I got 2 phones. Upset alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there.
There's no hope. Hope is gone. If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes. Bob Hope. I'm going to drink bleach.
Be the team you promised me you were going to be this year!
This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
Aidan, Kevin, remember, I'm Chris Hansen. I catch predators. Scott Hansen does the NFL Red Zone. I'll be watching and listening.
I legitimately am crying from laughing so hard.
It's a good thing you got toilet paper out.
That you got Chris Hansen to do the intro for our podcast.
I have no oxygen in my brain right now.
This podcast has gone totally off the rails in record time.
Skyrocketing to the moon.
That is legitimately one of the funniest things ever. And I'm dressed in toilet paper right now.
Oh my God.
I thought I was on Cameo looking like what would be a funny person to have do the intro to the podcast. And I was like, oh, Scott Hansen. I looked it up. He was $250. I was like, oh, Chris Hansen. And he was only 50. Hansen? He was only $50.
Oh, it's perfect. That I am beyond. ladies and gentlemen, Producèr Vince again. Round of applause for everything
Thank you. That legitimately was one of the funniest things ever.
I'm gonna need you to text that to me so I can watch that 15 times tonight.
100%.
Oh, well done. We'll go on YouTube when you are listening to this on Spotify or Apple or Google and go watch that because that was phenomenal.
And if you missed it, it'll be
to listen to every podcast.
Yeah, it's gonna be at the beginning of every podcast. So if you missed it, you'll hear it.
I can't believe we got Chris Hansen to do our intro for a podcast. That is
No, we got Chris Hansen, not Chris Hansen.
Look, my speech might be slurred because I'm speaking through toilet paper, and every time I blink, it's hitting my eyeball.
Oh God. All right, thank you, Vince. Are you going to do the whole podcast with the mummy on?
Probably.
Okay. It's very distracting.
Sorry. Yeah, it's distracting for you. I have toilet paper in my eye.
Oh, all right. So before we go any further, I lost this week, huh? So I guess I got to drink some stateside vodka.
That is the deal. Stateside is too good for you when you only scored 3 points against Washington. Yeah. They are too good of an alcohol for you to be drinking it. But you know what? They graciously gave it to us. So I think we should put it to good use, and you can put it to good use right now.
All right. So, yes, I'm drinking King vodka here. I'm putting in a little bit of vodka with some orange sparkling seltzer. And to add something to the mix here, I feel like after Mike Nolan in his press conference today, I'm going to add a little Tabasco sauce to my drink.
That's hilarious.
Because if you weren't listening to the interview today or his post-game press conference, defensive coordinator Mike Nolan, who could be the worst defensive coordinator in the entire league, had to end his press conference over Zoom today because he had Tabasco on his fingers and he wiped his eyes. So in honor of him, I'm drinking with some Tabasco.
Cheers.
Oh, that's miserable. Ugh. But stateside vodka is delicious, so it kind of takes over the Tabasco. All right. So you want to go a little bit around the NFL here?
Yeah, I can't see, but yeah. All right, I'm good.
I can see that Producèr Vince has disappeared in the screen. Oh, he's back. All right. So we will put the clock up. We're going to try and go 1 minute. We've been getting better at this, I feel like, Aiden. Getting a little closer.
The bye weeks help. Not when everyone's not playing, then it makes it so we can do it in 18, 16 seconds or whatever.
16?
60. Yeah. Close enough.
Chris Hansen and 18 seconds. All right. Let's get this clock going so then we can talk a little bit about the rest of everything we need to get into. So 3, 2, 1. The Saints squeak one out at home against the Panthers, 27-24.
The Jets get a moral victory. They scored 10 points, but they do lose. The Bills get an actual victory, 18-10.
The Bengals win the Battle of Ohio, 37-34, but I get screwed on my fucking bet because I had them at 3.5, and the kicker missed the extra point at the end of the game.
My favorite game of the entire weekend. The Atlanta Falcons had another 95% chance of winning, and they lost 23-22 to the Lions.
Aaron and the Packers are back 35-20 over the Texans, and I am starting free J.J. Watt.
The Buccaneers, the Raiders kind of got screwed. The whole offensive line had to go in COVID protocol. Bucs came in, killed them 45-20.
The gold standard of the league take down the undefeated Titans. Steelers 27, Titans 24.
We had a snow game, so we all win there, but the Chiefs actually win 43-16 over the Broncos.
The Patriots stink. Lose 33-6 to Jimmy G and the Niners.
Justin Herbert is legitimately has a rookie of the year case. Chargers win 39-29 over the Jags.
The game of the weekend was the Sunday night game. DK Metcalf is not human. DK Metcalf would be the best linebacker on either of our teams or the best player in general. Seahawks lose in Arizona to the Cardinals 37-34. That was
Did we do it?
We're good. We are good. All right. I know you want to talk Falcons, and and I want to talk a little OBJ.
Okay.
But I just want to remind the people before that after we talk a little bit around the NFL, we have an interview coming up with RJ Choppy from 105.3 The Fan in Dallas. If you remember, a few weeks ago, we had Jeff Kavanaugh on from 105.3 The Fan, and it was an absolutely electric interview. For this interview, Aidan had other contractual obligations. Is that how we say it, right?
That is technically what we're saying, contractual obligations elsewhere. So CEO Joe, who runs the company that we work for, one of the companies that we work for, filled in. So I'm going to be listening to it live like everybody else. So I'm very interested in that. But if I would trust one person to take my spot, it would be him. So I'm very excited. And I have heard, not the interview, but I've heard that it went well.
It was phenomenal. So we will let all of you listen to that in a little bit. But before that, I am going to let Mummy Aidan tee off on his Atlanta Falcons.
They are now my Atlanta Falcons because I love them. I've gone from hating them. Well, now that I got my fantasy points, I mean, I got double digits from both my receivers, so I could care less.
So we're good.
So, yeah, who cares if they lost? They are hilarious. It is hilarious to find the ways they find to lose games. And the best part about this situation is, like, they saw Penn State lose this way, and they were like, well, that's a creative way to lose that we haven't tried yet. Like, what if we do that tomorrow? So Todd Gurley falls into the end zone. Matt Stafford goes down the field. Like, how many times can they do this? Because I feel like it literally statistically rewrites history the way they lose games. Everyone's seen the viral tweet. It's been 3 times this year where they've had a 95% chance of winning and lost. How do they keep doing this? And it's like, if you just turned on your TV and watched the main highlight from the day before or went on Twitter, you would have seen the Penn State running back make the same mistake. Like, it just happened less than 24 hours ago, and every single person talked about it. At no point was a coach on the sideline like, hey, I watched Sports Center this morning. You should probably fall down at the 1 yard line. Like, nobody thought like, hey, look, this is the only way they have to win. Situational awareness for this team is so bad. It is hilariously bad. I love them.
I mean, there's no chance those dudes were not watching the game the night before. I mean, you have like bed check times, even though they're home. So they're watching college football. I guarantee it. And you see it happen. And then, he tries to pull the Brian Westbrook and he pulls the Atlanta Falcon.
And that's what the funniest part was, is that, like, you could tell in his brain, he was like, I shouldn't score. But then he like already had leaned forward, and the Lions celebrating was the best part. They're like, yeah, you idiot. And they were like, that you scored a touchdown. Like, thank you. It's very rare where you see the defense celebrating somebody score.
Mm-hmm.
It's just fantastic. They play on Thursday Night Football. So we're going to be graced with the presence of the Falcons on national TV. And I can't wait to see what they have in store and what they've cooked up for us.
They are just an absolutely delight to watch now.
I agree. Because it's like, how are they going to ruin it this time? It's like when people watch NASCAR to see a crash.
And especially after Arthur Blank came out and said that they're not moving Matt Ryan, they're not moving Julio Jones, which I did not expect them to move either of them. But at least we know now that this train wreck is just going to keep rolling down the tracks.
Oh yeah, it's rolling. Let's I just can't get over it. And like I said, they'll be back on Thursday and we'll be all blessed. But
how did we know the Birds versus Boys podcast was going to turn into an Eagles and Falcons bird?
I was about to say, we love the Ravens and we have a love-hate with the Falcons. So literally all the birds.
We are all the birds.
And Kyler Murray is both of our fantasy quarterbacks. So this is just a pro birds podcast.
Can we Producer Vince, can you get an addition to the intro with like Birdman?
Another cameo, Chris Hansen, and also Birdman.
All of the Birdmen.
Both right. Birdmen. Birdman the rapper and Birdman the basketball player.
Please. Get them all. All right. So Odell Beckham last week said that coronavirus was not going to enter his body because it wanted no part of him and he wanted no part of it, and it was mutual respect. I think that COVID took a pipe to his knee.
Yeah, I think that was 2020 being like, all right, well, if we can't get you with COVID, we're going to get you with something. It's a shame because I feel like this guy is just never fit in Cleveland, and then they were figuring it out, and then he gets hurt. So it sucks.
It does. It really does. It hurts their team for sure. I mean, now they're down Chubb, and now they lose Odell. They really need him to help stretch the field because that's not what Landry does.
No,
Landry's
he's a possession receiver.
Exactly. So it's definitely going to hurt Baker in this very important season for Baker as well.
Yeah, and it was Baker throwing the interception that really ended up tearing his ACL, but then like Baker goes on a tear and barely has an incompletion for the rest of the game. So we'll see going forward. I think Eagles have them after the bye. We'll see how it goes. They, like you said, they should be getting Chubb back. They run the ball well, but it just it sucks for Odell. Just kind of with the contract situation and never really being a fit there.
It's true. It's true. And there was a lot of talk about some teams trying to go after him. I know Stephen A. Smith was all over free Odell, get him out of Cleveland, but now we're going to have to put those talks on hold.
Yep.
You are listening to Birds vs. Boys, brought to you by King Vodka, stateside vodka made right in Philadelphia. And before we get into our Birds and Boys talk, we are going to let you listen to my interview with my co-host from Branded Radio joined me to do this interview, CEO Joe, and we were joined by RJ Choppy from the morning show Sean and RJ on 105.3 The Fan in Dallas. You can catch that every day if you are in DFW, and if not, you can catch it on the radio.com app. He is at RJ Choppy on Twitter. It was a phenomenal interview. He is hilarious as well as very, very knowledgeable. So enjoy my interview alongside with CEO Joe with the one and only RJ Choppy. All right, stepping in for Aidan on this interview is my Branded Radio co-host and also Eagles fan, CEO Joe. And Joe, super excited for our next guest here on Birds vs. Boys. You can listen to him every morning on 105.3 The Fan in Dallas, or as I do from Philly on the radio.com app. He is a must follow on Twitter. It's the one and only RJ Choppy. What's going on, Chop?
Guys, doing well. How are you guys?
Good. Well, miserable as a Cowboys fan.
Well, hang on. We do have a division leading fan here, so we're not all doing bad. Division leading, is division leading. A win's a win is a win. Man, which is actually more wins than we have. I just said right there, but yeah, division leading nonetheless.
I was talking last week that there's nothing better than to be able to trash talk from 2-4.
It's something I've never seen. We actually, one of the girls that works for us, she tweeted out a meme of from Pirates of the Caribbean where he's like, "You are by far the worst division leader of all time." And he's like, "But we are a division leader," with the big eagle symbol above it. So yeah, we'll take it. 2-4-1, not beautiful, but
I mean, I can't wait for the Eagles to win the division at 6-10, get drubbed in the playoffs, and get the 23rd pick, and then you pick a cornerback from Western Michigan, and he's off the team in 3 years. So it's fine with me.
It's insane. It's insane.
All right, RJ. So speaking of the Cowboys, they're obviously playing outrageously bad. They need to look in the mirror and see the Jets, not see the Cowboys in themselves. So from what you've been seeing, what's been worse, this Mike Nolan-led defense or the MASH unit of an offensive line?
Correct.
So which one of those do you think has been playing worse?
Yes, that's absolutely true.
All
the answer is yes. Yeah. The defense, because the defense can't use the injury excuse. The offensive line has the injury excuse. Mm-hmm. I mean, name me any of them, right? Like you just can't do it. They don't have the quarterback. Last time I checked, pretty important piece. The defense has got everyone. They've got everybody there. They've got, I think the entire secondary is healthy. They're missing one linebacker, missing one defense. And this isn't the entire position group.
Yeah, Randy Greger's back now.
Yeah, so that's all it is. It's health on the offense, and on the defense, It's just that they stink. Plain and simple. The defense is not any good. So they're the ones that are underperforming. They're the ones that really have the criticism should be sent their way, not at the offense. The offense is helpless.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Quite frankly, they're just helpless right now.
Yeah, they're done. And speaking of criticism, so a lot of finger pointing, obviously, at Mike Nolan for this scheme that the Cowboys players apparently can't understand. It needs to be dumbed down. But a lot of experts were saying in the beginning that Mike Nolan should not be the choice of DC, right? So do you think more of the finger pointing should be at Nolan or maybe even at McCarthy, who you can listen to every Friday with you and Sean, for hiring Nolan?
Look, Mike McCarthy hired Mike Nolan because Mike McCarthy owed him a solid. Yep. Right? Let's be fair. He owed him a solid. He was the one that gave him his big break, if you will. So that's why he hired him. He didn't really hire him because he's just an excellent defensive coordinator, because he's not. He never has been. We detailed this on the show. You go back to his Atlanta days, they were bottom third. You go back to when he was with, was he Miami maybe? They were the same thing. San Fran. I mean, the guy has been good as a coordinator in 20 years, almost since the Cowboys were last good. So I blame McCarthy on that one, and he's the one that deserves a lion's share of the blame for hiring Mike Nolan. There was we talked about this morning. Sean got a phone call from someone, and he wouldn't tell me who. Of course, I didn't really ask. I don't care. Asked about Mike Nolan, and that Nolan was interviewed by like 2 or 3 other teams over the last couple of seasons, and they all laughed when he left. Like, are you kidding? We're not hiring this clown. This guy's nuts. His scheme is awful.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to do things. They're trying to fit square pegs into round holes. They've got a 4-3 personnel. They're trying to run some kind of a hybrid 3-4. They got 2 gaps when they shouldn't be. Look, it's terrible right now. They're playing passive up front and aggressive on the backside, and they got nobody on the backside to play aggressive with.
You think the one thing with this scheme that they'd be able to do is stop the run, and they can't.
You would think. Yeah, you would think so. Right?
That's also the personnel that they have. These defensive tackles are just the worst in the league.
They are, and they bring Poe over here from Carolina. Well, what was their run defense last year? It was like 31st. Not surprised. Okay, not surprised on that one. This is not a good team. This is not a good. The personnel is flawed. They are too top heavy at the cap. If you spend over the last 20 years, if you spend more than 60% of your cap on your top 10 players, your average record's 5-11. Well, the top 10 players on this Cowboy team are almost, I think, 70% of the cap. So they have zero depth. Zero.
None. And speaking of one of those players, going back to the offensive side of the ball, is Zeke, right? And he's supposed to be putting this team on his back right now. Like you said, the quarterback's gone, and now we have Ben DiNucci. But he's supposed to be putting this team on his back, and he's fumbling. He's dropping passes. He's getting absolutely blown up in pass coverage. So talk to me. What the hell is going on with Zeke right now? Is he just mentally checked out?
Well, I mean, his line's not very good. So he's not going to get any holes. And we all know that running backs are only as good as the lanes they have to run in. So that's part of it. And I can only imagine how demoralizing it would be for a running back to basically pull the Mark Sanchez butt fumble on every single play and run right into the back of your own offensive line, who's getting pushed back by defensive players. So I'm not killing Zeke. I don't blame Zeke for taking the money. I blame the Cowboys for giving it to him.
Absolutely.
They never should have signed him. They never should have drafted him, to be honest with you. I mean, everybody knows. I mean, just pick up a book. They'll tell you that running backs don't matter. Like, just pick it. Not that they don't matter. That you don't draft them for. I mean, the Giants took the best running back in the draft, have one of the best running backs in football. They can't buy a win. Can't buy a win.
Yeah, 6 years, 90 million is a lot to commit to a running back, especially in this day and age. And if I'm Zeke, this is fake injury season for me right now. This is my next game. I'm pulling a hamstring, mystery hamstring, and I'm gonna hang it home and play Xbox and collect my paycheck.
I'm gonna fake an injury, so I don't do the show anymore. I can't handle this for not what is this? This is week 7. 9 more weeks, 10 more weeks.
You're gonna pull the Joe Buck hair plugs. You lost the vocal cords for a couple weeks.
Yeah, that's a great vocal cord. That's
cool.
a great idea. I could just come in and just, guys, I can't talk. That's perfect. That's what I'm gonna do next week.
There it is.
Let me ask you a question. So your radio mate, Kevin, he's all about Team Tank for the Cowboys, and he's actually got Kevin here on board with it as well. What do you think? Do you like to go that route, or are you still hopeful that, things can turn around enough to win this just absolutely putrid division?
Okay, so I'm going to go find this real quick. I did this study last week, all right, that if we were to tank, all right, let's just say we went last year, okay? Let's say this Cowboy team had the same situation last year's draft, all right, and we tanked. Dak got hurt last year. They bring in, Andy Dalton was on the team last year. And they had the 4th pick in the draft. The 4th pick in the draft this past year was Andrew Thomas. Okay. Right? That's for the Giants. So the Cowboys would have had Andrew Thomas for the next 4 years at $32 million. Or you fall to 17, CD falls in your lap. And from a cap standpoint, you pay him $14 million over the next 4 years. So that's 1.5 times the amount of money you're paying on him, or 2.5 times, whatever it is.
Yep.
So you're tanking for a non-quarterback. I don't think is a very smart thing in the NFL. You're getting a marginally better player at 3 times the cost. Cap-wise, this team can't afford that. This team is fine picking in the teens. Now, because you're not guaranteed to hit on your 4th pick anyway.
No.
Does anybody know if the Giants have hit on Andrew? I have no idea. I couldn't pick him out of a lineup. No idea if they've hit on him. No idea. We know that because the quarterbacks, you know what they do right away. But if I'm going to tank, I'm going to tank for a quarterback, and I don't need a quarterback. I'll take one. I'll take Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah,
that'd be nice. If they fell into the 1st pick, I would do it. Right, I would do it.
But yeah, the Jets. You're not gonna. There's no way the Jets win 2 games. There's just no way at all.
Not a chance.
No.
Not even.
I could see the Cowboys getting the 2nd pick because I don't know if I see another win on this schedule. Maybe 1 or 2.
Bassick today bet me. He said, "I'll bet you $100." This was like when Andy first got in. $100. I was like, they're still going to win 8.5 games because the Vegas still had them at like 9 wins, and I was like, yeah, I'll take it. I'll follow Vegas. And then he said, "I'll bet you $100 they don't do that." And I was like, "Fine." So I've already lost.
You might as well just hand the money over.
I know, right? I'm still waiting for an out clause that Ben DiNucci starts like half the starts, and I get a reprieve.
That's got to be in there.
It is in there. So I'm waiting.
It's got to be an FBS rule or something.
Huge. So, but the other thing is today he said, "I will bet you 20-1 they don't win another game, and if they don't win another game, you've got to pay me $2,000. But if they win one more game, I get $100. I get my $100 back." I'm not taking it.
No.
It should be a free $100 if they're going to win one of the next 10. I'm not touching it.
You would think.
Joe, who do you think they beat? They're not beating the Steelers. They're not beating the Niners. They're not beating the Ravens. They're not beating the Vikings. Maybe
the NFL is so weird. Teams, you never know what's going to happen week 17, who's going to be in, who's going to be pulled, what the situation is. I've up until this week, this was the first week that I'll admit that I think that they're absolutely toast now. I've been waiting for them to just look like they have with the talent they are. Like I was waiting that Cardinals game. I was like, this is the one. This is where they're going to find it and they're going to turn it on. And I'm an Eagles fan. I don't want them to, but I was waiting for that moment. And now I've officially moved them to, I'm just worried about the in this division or the Washington football team.
But what's frustrating is, and fans are frustrated by this. Every other team has injuries at the quarterback position, and they still find ways to scratch a win or 2 or 3 or 5 or win a Super Bowl. I don't know. And that bothers Cowboy fans. And the knock on Jason was that Jason can't win without his starting quarterback. We conveniently forget that he went 13-3 with his third string guy.
Exactly.
We conveniently forget that Dak wasn't a backup.
Everybody forgets everybody thinks he was just the starter from day one.
Right. Yeah. We conveniently forget he went 13-3. But I mean, my gosh, he can't win without his and I'm not sitting here. This is not a Jason Garrett referendum or anything, but same crap's happening now. In fact, it's worse because they never quit on Red Ball. I mean, maybe they did at the end, and I get it, it's 10 years. Everybody quits with their boss after 10 years. Everybody does, except for me. But this is the same stuff that's been going on, and it bothers Cowboy fans, and it should, that everybody else could find a way to scratch a win off when their quarterback's out, and the Eagles find a way to win a Super Bowl, and Bill Belichick found a way to go like 14-6 without Tom Brady.
And then we got the same guy and couldn't win a game.
And there you go.
So let me ask you, do they make a run for anybody, like a guy like Fitzmagic or somebody like that?
Prior to all the injuries on the line, I'd have done the Fitzpatrick one.
Absolutely.
I love Ryan Fitz. I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick is – so all you need in the playoffs is to just be able to get in there and go on a run. Like Tennessee went on a run. The Ravens went on a run. I guess you could say the Niners went on a run last year's whole season. All you got to do is get in there. And Fitzpatrick, to me, he could throw you for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns, or he could throw for 5 picks. And I'll take those chances.
And with those 3 wide receivers, unbelievable.
Yeah, he's a guy that always seems to win a game. He just has no business winning. So speaking of that, real quick, Eagles Cowboys line this weekend, -7.5 for the Eagles. Cowboys haven't covered against the spread yet. It's honestly been probably the easiest bet so far of the year. Any chances of the weekend that they cover one?
No.
You don't think?
No.
7.5 is a lot of points against another bad team.
They're 0-7 against the spread. They're not covering anything.
Now, would you take that? Maybe they won't win a game, but do you think that they'll cover a spread?
Ooh. They'll cover a spread. They'll
Okay.
cover a spread. At some point, they're going to cover a spread. But I'm going to say they're not going to cover this one. Because, this morning it was 3.5 still.
Wow.
It was 3.5 this morning, and I went to make a bet on it, and it was off the board.
It's going to keep going. Philadelphia is very much like a sucker bet town where we'll take almost anything. So Philadelphia's going to keep loading it up until it's probably going to get, by game time, it's probably going to be closer to like 10.5 just to try to get some people to bet the other way.
Yeah. I mean, I went to make the bet this morning. It was off the board. I'm going to go check right now to see if it's there. But, this thing's going to – I do believe this will get bet up.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
This will go off at 9.
And I don't think the game's close. I really don't.
I don't see how it is.
No. And
they can't score with a fistful of 50s.
And I mean, you guys a couple weeks ago went through the schedule of where and this was with Andy Dalton, where the Cowboys had an advantage at quarterback, because that's usually where the game slides. It's not, if Ben DiNucci's playing or Andy Dalton, I don't care. The Eagles have the advantage.
Yeah, and quite frankly, the Cowboys had the advantage this week too, and they lost.
And
they had they've pretty much won the games. Let's see. Rams, that's kind of – look, I love Jared Goff. I think Dak's better, but, I mean, it's close to a 50-50. Atlanta, you guys know what I feel about Matt Ryan. So the Cowboys somehow won that game. They shouldn't have won. They had the advantage against Baker. They didn't have it against Russ. I mean, they've only had the advantage a couple games this year.
Yep.
And one of them they won, which was the Giants game.
It's mind blowing. And you went back to saying like this Cowboys team never quit on Jason Garrett. And on Sunday, when Andy took that hit, and now McCarthy's coming out and talking about it as well. I mean, it seemed like no Cowboys had any fire in them. Nobody went to defend him. I mean, if somebody went at one of your softball teammates, there would have been more fire to you, probably, correct?
No, I'd hung him out to dry. I'm not. I'm too old for that, man. I'm not standing up for anybody at 41. If you need someone to stand up for you, you've dug your own grave. That's how I look at it.
But how does not one of these guys get in Bostic's face?
I don't know. And some people were saying, and I get it, if you're an offensive lineman, all those offensive linemen are basically rookies. That game is moving at a speed that they're not accustomed to.
True.
Everything is processing so fast. They may not even have realized it. I get it. But there were countless guys on the sideline where the game's not processing slow on, that they could have raced out there. And they might have come up with a penalty. They might have been ejected. Guys, who cares? You're going to get worked anyway. Who cares what happens the rest of the year? If they fire Mike Nolan or Mike McCarthy and the team quits, what's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to lose games?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, they're already doing that now.
I don't know what's worse. It is worse when you show no fire and no passion than just losing a game.
It's way worse. And the thing that's about it that really with me, I hate harping on things I can't see. I can't see someone's football IQ. I can't see someone's energy level or heart. But man, what the Cowboys are doing right now, you don't need a very trained eye to see it.
No.
You don't need to know what you're looking for to know this team doesn't give a rip. And they don't know what they're doing. I mean, Jalen Smith, who I think probably gets a little bit unfairly criticized at times. For him, the two plays encompass this entire season. The Kyle Allen 3rd and 9 run for like 12 yards was the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen.
That was wild.
You got a bunch of 4.4 40s out there chasing this little white dude around. That guy can't. I mean, he's still going by him somehow.
Uh-huh.
And then the other thing is Jalen on that. He breaks up a pass and starts fist pumping and high fiving before he realized that he got a defensive pass interference because he didn't look at the ball. Like, that's the Cowboys season right there in one play. Jalen Smith.
And that was later in the game. Jalen made a stop for like a 7-yard gain, and I saw him coming up, and I was yelling. I'm like, "Don't do the swipe! Don't you swipe!" It blows my mind sometimes what he does.
It does. It really does. And he, I think he's just unaware.
Mm-hmm. And he has a Notre Dame degree.
I know. He's just unaware of the position he holds. And I think he's unaware that some of the things he does optic-wise don't look good. He is infectious. He's infectiously positive.
Mm-hmm. I
got to hand it to the guy. Like 99% of people would have completely given up after that injury.
Folded.
I would have. I've got an elbow issue. I don't want to go get surgery on it. Why? I don't want to do the rehab because I know I wouldn't do it. And it'd be a waste of time.
Uh-huh.
This guy gets the surgery done, and he's squatting 275 in a week. Like, what?
That's not human. That's
what
just
happened,
not human.
right? How did that happen? He's doing it on one leg. Like, how did that happen? So he's infectiously positive, but I think sometimes that is a hindrance because he doesn't grasp that being so upbeat isn't what fans want to hear. Fans don't want to hear that. The team does. He'd be a great coach. The teams want to hear that, but fans don't.
No, not at all. All right. Before we get you out of here, obviously this is Birds versus Boys. We're talking a lot of Cowboys. It is hate week. So it's hate week between Aidan and I, and then Joe and I here. We have a radio show every Saturday. So we're going hard on hate week this week, even though the teams stink. So RJ, you're going to stand in for me on this debate. We always do some sort of Cowboys Eagles debate. And it's not always about, the team. When Kavanaugh was on here, we had him and Aidan debate about Rager and CeeDee Lamb's career. We've debated about the healthy Cowboys offensive line versus the Eagles defensive line, who would win in a bar fight. So today.
And for the record, I'm not at an advantage here. I don't even know what he's about to ask. So I'm at a total disadvantage with this one as well. So we're on the same page here.
All right.
So I don't even know what we're about
to go first. You're going to go first, and then I'll let RJ mop it up with you. So we're going off the field. I want you to make your case about which team has the more annoying fan base.
All right.
I mean, that's not all right. Never mind. I am at an advantage because it's not fair because he has to debate for the Cowboys fans, and that's a huge disadvantage. So it's clearly the Cowboys fans by a mile. I think actually, now I think about it, the Washington football team summed it up the best with that tweet after they won, where they just tweeted out the picture of the guy crying and his girlfriend giving him a kiss. And I think in that same game, there's like another cut of a Cowboys fan with his like Yankees mask on. I mean, the joke just made itself. So, I mean, every Cowboys fan, I mean, look at you. You're a Yankees fan as well. You like Notre Dame. I mean, Kevin, you're an absolute scumbag. I know I'm debating RJ here, but you're an absolute scumbag. So, you know, it's the Cowboys fans by a mile. And I know we get this reputation. Oh, there's fights and there's people punching each other in the face. That's because we have passion, not empathy. And I think if I'm correct, there's been a couple Donnybrooks in that Cowboys stadium as well. Now, it's just not a Philadelphia, so we don't have to hear about it. But, I mean, it's the Cowboys fans by a mile and a half.
All right. Listen. Cowboy fans are annoying. Like they can be. They're entitled. They're bratty. They're spoiled. But I grew up in the greater Philadelphia area, so I've got some insider information here. Look, your entire city's fan base is based around a fictional character that really wasn't any good anyway. The best food product you have comes in a can that you peel away with like one of those little Coke products, like like one of those, what is it, pork roll? It's terrible.
That hurt. That's
it's terrible. It's awful. It's awful. It's awful. You got a couple cool bridges. I'll give you that, but other than that, there's really nothing to it. It is the most. It's the least classy fan base I've ever come around.
Now.
There is such a Napoleon complex. You think New Jersey has a Napoleon complex in New York. Philadelphia has one to Baltimore. Okay, it has one to Pittsburgh. Nobody has ever had a Napoleon complex to Pittsburgh. Philadelphia somehow has that.
No,
it does.
I won't let you get away with that because I've said it before and I'll say it again. Pittsburgh has the ugliest fan base in the world. I mean, a Pittsburgh 10 is like a Philadelphia 2. Okay, so I'm not going to let you get away with that one at all. And for the record, Rocky Balboa was 57-23. So, and I believe champion as well. So, that's not too shabby. You get 57 professional wins.
That's not too shabby. I'll give you that. But the constant booing.
Mm-hmm.
You guys boo to boo. I'm all for it. I'm all for booing. Okay, I hate the St. Louis Cardinals. They're my least favorite fan base on the planet. They're so upbeat and positive. They think they invented the game. It's terrible. But the Philadelphia booing, as if the fan base could do any better. As if the fan base expects more of their own selves. They expect more of the football team than they do out of their own life. That was what bothers me about Philadelphia sports fans. It's and plus, I mean, let's be fair. It's annoying that you guys have the best sports complex in the country. All the stadiums are right there. That's really annoying. It's really annoying.
But to have all of them in the same spot is so amazing.
It's so amazing. It's annoying.
What I will say, one thing I will agree with you on the Philadelphia fan base that I hate, and I was actually talking to my father-in-law about this the other day, is that we love losers in this town. We just love, we love the guys. We love third stringers. We love a good backup catcher. Nothing makes us happier than a guy that hustles but bats like 230. That's what we love in this town. It's my least favorite thing. That's why when we draft all these guys from, where Old Dominion, we love guys from Old Dominion. I just want guys from the SEC. Why can't we get a guy from Alabama? That's what I want. I want a guy from LSU. Yeah.
Football players.
Yeah, that's all I want. I hate the rooting for losers as well. That bothers me.
Well, it's even worse for me because I'm married to one. So.
That is
my life.
Yes.
I was not allowed to put the Cowboys banner up until the Eagles banner went up. So it was brutal.
That's fantastic work right there.
Yeah. She bullied me right into that. All right, RJ, before we get you out of here, let the people know where they can listen to you, where they can find you.
You can listen to me, 105throughthefan.com, radio.com app, 105 Through the Fan, or if you happen to be in Dallas-Fort Worth, 105 Through the Fan on that little radio thing. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Choppy. Show's 5:30 to 10 a.m. Central Time for you folks out East or Western or Pacific times or whatever it's called.
The other times all around. So
the other time zones don't matter. Anything west of me does not matter. Anything west of here, I'm out on.
Doesn't count. All right, RJ, I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. Hopefully, I don't even want the Cowboys to win any games, but at the same time, I need them to win this game. Just because my marriage and my friendship, I need to have the upper hand.
You know what? There's nothing better. Never mind. I'm not going to go there.
Oh.
Nope. Not going there. Not going there.
We're
not going to do it.
We're cutting it off.
Myself, I would cut myself off.
Go Birds, baby. That's what I heard. I heard go Birds. Bang, bang, bird gang, baby.
Let's just try and cover the spread.
That's all we can ask for.
Just cover one spread. All right, RJ, thank you.
Appreciate it, guys.
Good talking to you.
What, Aidan, I know you haven't heard it yet, so I'm not going to ask you about it, but I know it was just a phenomenal interview. He, like I said in the intro, he's hilarious. He's knowledgeable. He sparred with CEO Joe about the more annoying fan base. I think we're going to have to put that up on Twitter, which fan base, Dallas or Philly, is more annoying. But thank you to RJ for joining us again. Follow him at RJ Choppy on Twitter and listen to him every day on the radio.com app or on 105.3 The Fan if you are in Dallas. But we don't want this podcast to go too long, so let's get right into our Birds versus Boys. I'm going to let you go first because the Eagles did play on Thursday, and I don't really want to talk about the Cowboys. So I'll let you go.
We will.
First place, Eagles.
Yes, the first place Eagles with 5 minutes left in that game. We were down double digits, the season in the balance, and we come out and not only win the game, but by the end of the weekend, you're in first place. I mean, I just want patted on the back for believing in Carson, and that'll metaphorically also pat Carson on the back. Like it does not matter who the opponent is. It does not matter. There were 5 minutes left. They were down by double digits, and he carried that team to a win, throwing to John Hightower, Richard Rodgers, aka Dick Rod, and Greg Ward.
Now, real quick, I know you shut the phone off during games.
Yeah.
Did you look back at the branded group chat at all during the game?
I didn't look during the game. I looked afterwards. I was involved afterwards, but I would recommend to everybody turning your phone off during the game. The game is, I'll be honest with you. The game is a lot better when you don't look at your phone.
It's true. But I did want to say that at 21-10, I texted the branded group and said the Eagles are winning this game. There was 6 minutes left. They were down 21-10. I said the Philadelphia Eagles, it felt to me like one of those, just like you said, Carson Wentz games where he's going to put the team on his back just like he did. AJ tweeted back, haha, imagine that fart, Mr. Philly. And then as soon as they won, first place, we're in first place. No, listen, you had no hope in your quarterback. You're not a mummy. The mummy. You don't deserve to be a mummy, AJ.
Yeah,
Aidan is a mummy.
Everyone who doubted Carson, you're still dead. I got brought back to life because I believed.
And I, unfortunately, have seen that movie before, and I am the most logical Dallas Cowboys fan you'll ever run into in your life. And I know I'm okay. I'm okay with admitting to knowing that Carson Wentz is a good quarterback and he does things like this. And I'm not going to cry and say, no, he sucks. He's not a good quarterback. No, he is a good quarterback and can do things that not many other quarterbacks in the NFL can do with me and you playing wide receiver.
Pretty much. And you mentioned like seeing that movie before. Well, that game was very reminiscent of the Monday Night Football game last year. They were down 17-3 to the Giants. It's the primetime game. They're wearing the black uniforms. They're supposed to come out and crush the Giants, and they don't. Yep. And the reason they don't is because they don't have the horsepower. They don't have that weaponry. But once again, just like last year, there's no rhyme or reason to why it happened, but Carson brought them back. And he might have even had less this year than last year, which is hysterical to say, given last year's weapons. And if you even want to use that word, it's more like water guns. But yeah, and he did it again. And I just want people to finally just like once give him credit. It's okay. Like, it's not going to kill you. And if it does, look at me. I'm alive. I'm a mummy.
He's back.
He's back. Like Voldemort in the 5th Harry Potter. He's back. Like you can give him credit. It's okay. If Russell Wilson does that, you're going to be slobbing all over him on Twitter. It's okay. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter who the opponent is. They were down double digits and they won the game. and it's because of Carson Wentz. So you don't have to hate him every single day. He's a Jesus-loving man. Like you could give him props every once in a while. It will not kill you. You might get into heaven.
The greatest tweet of all time here was Aidan's video reaction back from the dead.
Well, yeah. So that was if you can follow me on Twitter. I had that idea. I was thinking about I literally, and you know what? You brought it up. You're like, the Eagles are winning this game with 6 minutes left. I thought of that GIF where the Undertaker just rises up. That's still popular on Twitter. And I thought of that with 5 minutes left. I was like, this is what I'm going to post when the Eagles win. And then I took it 2 steps further. I was like, what if I just make the video myself? And then by the end of the game, I was so hype after the Brandon Graham strip sack that I was just like screaming into the phone. And that's how we got where we are. And then the wheels kept turning. And then I wrapped my head with toilet paper for this podcast. So you see, like, it's going to be very dangerous if the Eagles keep winning games, because I keep having ridiculous ideas, and they will keep being even more ridiculous if we keep winning.
Epiphanies.
Yes.
I think we may have to float another message out to Jeff Kavanaugh and have him come on real quick for another Earl Thomas, Brandon Graham better career debate.
Thank you. You know, only 2 people in the entire league have more sacks than Brandon Graham right now, and it's Aaron Donald and Myles Garrett. Longevity of his career is impressive, but it's not just like he's out there as a role guy and, you know, he's gracefully going into retirement. No.
Like Clown Griffin?
Like Clown Griffin, yes. No, Brandon Graham is legitimately the best defensive end on the team, and it's not close. And Josh Sweat and Vinny Curry are pretty good. That's just saying something about Brandon Graham. I'm just like blown away by the sustained success of this guy.
It is. I mean, he's one of those guys, again, that there's not much to hate about him, even if you're a rival fan base.
And he and I'll get into what I see from the team. But that defensive line, it really comes down, like, you know, this was the whole game plan from the start of the season. Like, if they get pressure, they're going to be in games. If they don't, they won't be. And down the stretch, they were really getting pressure, really turned it on. And then you saw what happened. And they forced a few turnovers. And Jim Schwartz was like, okay, I'm just going to make Daniel Jones make plays. Like, someone has to get open for this guy. And he just has to do it with pressure in his face. They blitzed the linebackers all night. Linebackers played pretty well. So all in all, I know it was a sloppy game, but they did get the win. And there was stuff to be happy about. I'll get in before we get into the Cowboys. There's like one thing. I really think there's one issue for the Eagles. I don't know. I'll see if you can guess. I don't know if I'll let you.
One thing that was good or one thing that was bad?
One thing that was bad, and I think it leads to other things being bad, and then it like spirals out of control. If this one unit was better, I think everybody else would be better, and we wouldn't be like in a 1-point game with the Giants.
What side of the ball is it on?
Offense.
Is it the line?
It is.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
Right, yeah.
So, and the reason I think it's the biggest issue, like you saw that first drive, they go right down the field and score, and it's like 15 plays, takes 7.5 minutes. So it was, they pretty much did whatever they want. They moved the ball, running it and passing it. And it was very reminiscent of that first week 1 game against Washington. Like early in the game, they were able to move the ball, but this line can't sustain for 4 quarters. They just don't have the depth. They don't have the talent. Eventually, the other side starts winning.
Must really suck to have a bad offensive line. I really feel bad for you.
Yeah, I know. Talking about getting beat up by Washington's defensive line. How about you guys? But yeah, I mean, but it was like the same thing. And you saw it from the Cowboys. I mean, the Cowboys got blown away. Like that offensive line just got blown away from play 1.
I told you.
I didn't know Zach Martin wasn't. I wasn't sure if he was playing or not.
I told you.
But yeah, so I think you see these drives stalling later on for the Eagles, and it's just because they're getting blown back at the line of scrimmage. So then they can't run the ball, and then because they can't run the ball, it's 2nd and 11, and then Wentz is running for his life, and now it's 3rd and 11, and now you're like, all right, now one of these receivers who isn't good has to make a play, and it's just like you can't sustain success that way. Like even on those final drives. They were in Wentz's face the entire time.
Yep.
I think we'll get better. Like we'll get healthier on the line, hopefully, and then you'll be all right. But like Opeta making his first start was bad, But these are things like you kind of expect. And I know you guys are in the same predicament as us right now.
Yeah, worse predicament. I mean, there's talk that depending on how your team is doing towards the end of the season, I heard there's talk that Brandon Brooks might be able to play later in the season.
He is an absolute freak of nature. He was already doing box jumps with a torn Achilles. He might be able to play. And we'll save it for the preview of this week, but Jason Peters might be able to play this week. Position TBD.
For about 6 plays.
Yep.
Yeah, and then your boy Julio Reagor may come back, but
we'll save. Oh, buddy, you don't want him to play, because if he plays and he does well, I am going to be the most insufferable person of the entire world.
Especially after CeeDee Lamb had 2 phones and 0 catches this week.
2 phones, 0 catches, baby. All right, 2 last quick things on the Eagles. Let's flip it over to the Cowboys. 1, Carson Wentz trying to throw it away, but then like his body being like, what if I just kept it in bounds? I swear to God, I will put this on my life, even though I'm a mummy. But I swear he tried to throw that ball away, and like his muscles wouldn't let him do it. If you look at the replay, he's not even looking at John Hightower. Like he's trying to get rid of it, but the way his body was contorted, he kept it in bounds. It's just so funny. Even when he tries to throw it away, he can't. And then the other thing, I wonder who Giants fans hate more, Boston Scott or Carson Wentz, because every time we play, one of those two is just ruining their night. So that's all I had on the Eagles, and we're on to the Cowboys.
Do we have to?
Yes, it is Birds versus Boys, and we could talk about 4 different Birds teams if you wanted to.
Yeah, I'd much rather talk Falcons, Cardinals, or Ravens. But I said it last week. You tried to give me hope. Told you, Bob Hope is dead. The Dallas Cowboys are dead. There is no hope. And the worst thing, and we talked about it with RJ Choppy, it's not only that they're not a good team. It's not only that they lack talent, especially on the offensive line right now due to injuries, and the defense just because they're not good players. And it's not only that they're poorly coached and they have apparently a too difficult of a scheme for defensive players who graduated from Notre Dame to understand. It's that they have no heart. They show no emotion. It doesn't look like they care.
Yes.
It doesn't look like they try. Yesterday's game Sunday's game now, against the Washington football team. You don't have to bleep that.
You almost got.
They it was not only an embarrassing game, it was not only a boring game. It was sad as a Cowboy. I wasn't mad. I was sad because they had nothing.
No.
Nothing.
You're right.
They showed nothing.
You're right. I think Monday was the day for you guys to be mad. I'm speaking about last Monday Night Football against the Cardinals.
Yes.
Like that's the game where you're angry. Like they came out and got blown out at home in front of the whole nation. This week in the rain in Washington, like this was a day to be sad. Like that's like a soul-sucking game to lose like that.
Especially when like I said, the season is lost when a guy who has unbelievable hands like CeeDee Lamb can hold on to 2 cell phones but can't hold on to the football. Like he had no catches. Michael Gallup shut out. I don't even know if this offensive line yesterday 100% without a doubt in my mind was the worst offensive line that lined up to play football on Sunday in the NFL.
It's the reason why I think Washington could win this division is that they're the one team in the entire division where you could say, look at a position group and be like, okay, this group is elite. Mm-hmm. Maybe you could say the Cowboys receivers, but like they don't have a quarterback right now to get them the ball.
Is Ben DiNucci getting him the ball?
That's what I mean is like, could you consider that group elite right now? But Washington has an elite pass rush, and the Cowboys offensive line stood no chance.
I don't think you can call them elite because I don't know, again, if they have heart. They asked Amari Cooper about
the receivers.
The receivers. Anybody. Nobody has heart on this team right now. They asked Amari Cooper about the hit that Bostic put on Dalton. He's like, yeah, you don't want to see that in the league, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, what's the right reaction towards the player that cheap shotted your quarterback? And he's like, well, I don't really know. Not one Dallas Cowboy got in the face of John Bostic. Not one. Nobody.
So what's your take on that? Because here I'll give what I mean, and then I'll ask you for your take. So I agree with your buddy Jeff Kavanaugh, who tweeted, like, if guys who were supposed to be in there were in there, probably would have attacked him. Like Lyle Collins, Zach Martin, guys like that, Tyron Smith. Like if they were playing, it would have been different, but they weren't. So do you go that way where you're like, okay, the starters aren't in there, so it's a bunch of guys who don't know what they're doing, I'll give him a free pass? Or you're like, this team's dead, someone should have stepped up for him? What's your take?
So my take was that I was angry right away that nobody stepped up. And I'm still angry about that. That's probably the one thing that I am angry about in this game. However, during our interview with RJ Choppy, he brought up exactly what you just brought up. These guys on the line are basically all rookies and second-year guys. And they have a game. They're stepping into a game that's going way too fast for them. And chances are they probably didn't even know what the hell was happening.
Yeah.
But there was a whole lot of guys on the sideline that didn't do a damn thing. And that receiving core, they aren't rookies, and they were looking and they saw. And you go after that guy. You protect your quarterback. It's like in hockey. You think if somebody speared a team's goalie that they're just going to take a knee and wait for him to get up?
No, not a chance.
Get knocked out. And I don't care if you are, throw Dontari Poe in there. He's not playing well anyway. Have him fucking take John Bostic out. I don't care if he gets suspended 3 weeks. Show some goddamn emotion. Show the fans that you care. Because right now, I was listening to Stephen Jones on 105.3 The Fan today, and they asked him the question of, why should fans keep watching? Why should fans care? And he said, I think you're going to see a team that's going to evolve and get. No, there's no evolving. We're dead. Evolution. This is not the monkeys turning into humans. It's not happening with this team. There's no evolution. They are who they are, and they're not going to get better. The Tyron Smith's not coming back this year. Lyle Collins is not coming back this year. Yes, they're going to get Zach Martin and Joe Looney back, but they're still going to trot Steele out there. And hopefully Brandon Knight when he comes back, because Cam Irving can't play either. They suck. And they don't care that they suck. And that's the worst part.
Well, that's the craziest part to me, is that the lifeless part, the heartless part. And I know they continually blame the coaching staff, and they have an anonymous source problem. But I just don't get it. Like, yeah, we've talked about this, and we sound like a broken record talking about this team. It's like, okay, like, yeah, the coaches are responsible for a lot of stuff. Like, these schemes don't work. These guys look in bad positions. They don't look ready to play. But you shouldn't have Mike McCarthy have to scream at you for you to show up and just tackle someone. I just don't see anything from the team. It's like, you can only blame so much on the coaching staff for being lifeless. And, it's a very bad division, but it's like a division where one game can swing your entire season. Like, if the Eagles lose that game, that's it. Like, we're done. But we win. And it's like, how do the Cowboys players not realize this? Like, who cares who the coach is? Like, one game can swing the pendulum for you to have a commanding lead in the division. I just don't get it.
You want to know why?
Yeah. If you have a theory, I do not have theories, because I keep giving this team 100 chances.
I do. So players in Philadelphia kind of evolved towards that city, right? They're working class. They have to earn what's they get. They have to work hard for it. And I feel like their leader in Carson Wentz exudes that, right? He's not a guy that got paid and all of a sudden he's wearing Gucci slippers into the stadium, right? That jacket he wore this week was a little questionable.
I loved it.
But this is another thing that Jerry Jones has done to kill the Dallas Cowboys. Does it help him as a businessman? Yes. In building the brand of the Dallas Cowboys. They're the highest, most valued franchise in all of sports in the entire world. That's phenomenal for Jerry Jones, for Stephen Jones, and for the Jones family. It means they're going to never have to worry about money until the sun explodes. But the players that built the legacy of the Dallas Cowboys, the Roger Staubachs, the Troy Aikmans, the Michael Irvins, and Emmitt Smiths, Rod Woodsons, they worked at their craft and they earned the star on their helmet. These Dallas Cowboys these days feel like they walk right in, they put the star on their helmet, and they're part of America's team. And immediately their brand goes through the roof, their individual brand. And that's what they care about most. Jalen Smith is hawking sunglasses. He owns a cryotherapy chain. And they care more about their brands than they do winning on the field, because being a Dallas Cowboy brings you so much more off the field that they feel like even when they lose, they're still the Dallas Cowboys. They're still on every goddamn television on ESPN and Fox every day. They could win 2 games this year, and they will be the most covered goddamn team in football. And these guys see that, and their brands are still up. They're still part of the Dallas Cowboys, and they're America's team. They don't have to win to make their money, and that's the fucking problem.
So you think it's like an entitled thing? Like they come in and
100%.
they're kind of coasting.
Dallas Cowboys.
They're coasting on old victories. It's kind of, hey, you might be America's team. America's been coasting on the World War that we won in 1949. So hey, maybe you are America's team.
That's true. And that is what a game on Sunday shows me. That there was no heart. There was a lack of effort. You had a 3rd and 9. And I know RJ Choppy talked about this in the interview, but you had a 3rd and 9, and they could not stop Kyle Allen from running for 13 yards to pick up the first down. And you were in the game at that point.
And can I say one more? And it's like it goes back to the effort thing. There was another 3rd and 9 where Vince almost got me. I almost said the R word. Washington was in another 3rd and 9, and it was an obvious running situation. Like they were trying to run the clock out.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave up 12 yards, and you knew a running play was coming. And that's the 2nd straight week where that's happened. Last week it screwed me because Kenyon Drake went 66 yards. Like, you know what's coming, and you either like don't know where you're supposed to be, 1, or 2, you just don't care enough to be where you're supposed to be. But either way, it's just like just getting blown back. Like, I don't know. I'm so competitive. I don't compare myself to pro athletes. Obviously, I'm a man wearing toilet paper over my face. But when I played sports, like I could not get blown out. Like that would drive me insane beyond belief. To like, that's embarrassing. And I don't understand why they're not, like, why nothing is clicking. I just don't get it. And I can't quit this team. I give them so much more credit than you do. And I keep thinking they're going to win. And then they come out and they don't try.
Aidan, I honestly, when I tell you, I don't think they're going to win another game this year. They're out of the division. They're not beating the Steelers.
Whoa.
Not beating the Ravens.
Don't try to jinx this back in your face.
No. This is dead. This is sadness.
I won't even listen.
They're not beating the Niners. They're not beating the Vikings. I don't know. We talked about this with RJ Choppy. The Cowboys are 0-7 against the spread this year. They haven't covered a spread yet. My hope is just that they can cover a spread within 16 games.
Oh, you're going Jets, where it's like, all right, the Jets had a few productive drives. Like, all right,
Cowboys looking through the mirror, and they need to see the Jets. At least the Jets put up a fight against the Bills on Sunday.
That's true. Yeah, they did. Man, fighting for their coach's job.
Yeah, and that is a question that we're not going to answer today, but down the line. I mean, how do you bring Mike if this team goes 2-14? 3-13. How do you bring Mike McCarthy back? You can already see he lost the locker room. Mm-hmm. If you want to fire up the team right now and Mike Nolan needs to lose his job today. The defensive coordinator needs to lose his job today, because everybody knows he got the job for one reason and one reason only: Mike McCarthy giving him back what he gave to him. Mike Nolan gave Mike McCarthy his first job in the NFL, and Mike McCarthy's helping him back. Every expert said that Mike Nolan should not be a defensive coordinator in this league. Every defense he has ever run, the Niners, the Dolphins, your Atlanta Falcons, they were always bottom of the NFL. And here comes in Mike McCarthy saying, yep, I got the guy. Let's change schemes when we don't even have the right players to change the scheme. We're going from day one. It's unfathomable. And I feel like it's even not Mike Nolan's fault because he's just not good at his job. It's not his fault he got hired. It's Mike McCarthy's fault for hiring him.
That's what I always say about Nate Gary playing linebacker. Like, it's not his fault that you keep throwing him out here and he's bad at his job. Same applies to Mike Nolan. Like, the game has passed him by, but he's still on the sideline. I'm with you. I think if they don't turn this around, he's getting fired. And I think even if they do turn it around and win the division, he is also getting fired. And for Mike McCarthy, that'll be an interesting one. And I think here's my last thing, and I'll let you tee off one last time if you want to. My thing, like, it starts early on, and it starts with the preparation. And I guess this is anti-Mike McCarthy, but it's like they get that goal line stand, and they're on the 2-inch yard line, and they do everything right. Yep. Like, they get Washington to jump, which is really good. Like, you get yourself some space, and then you pick up a first down, so you're like off the goal line, so you're moving. You have your running game going with Zeke, and then you end up getting a safety anyway because they bring a blitz, and 3 guys try to block the same Washington defender, and one guy comes completely clean and strips Andy Dalton, and they get a safety anyway after doing all that work to get off the goal line. Like, that's the way that the season is going. And I guess that's anti-Mike McCarthy because it's like a preparation thing. Like, you're starting to do things well, and then you shoot yourself in the face one last time.
That and the Jalen Smith, where he celebrates on a 3rd down where he thought he made the play and didn't see the flag that he got pass interference.
Yeah, and it was like a pretty obvious pass interference.
But he tackled him.
It's to the point that one, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Nope.
Like I keep doing with this team.
Nope.
And just say he didn't. Sometimes you just got to sell it. You just got to be like, oh, I didn't do anything. He's celebrate like I actually played defense.
He's not football, but he knows his X's and O's, and he knows where to go. And he has a degree from Notre Dame, but he's not football smart. He doesn't know how to do those things, like you just said. Last thing, and we'll get out of here. Randy Gregory did play. Didn't record a tackle his first game. He only played 6 snaps. If you're gonna have the fucking guy active, play him. Okay. He's supposed to be. I understand he hasn't played since 2018, but I think he can play more than 6 snaps. Alden Smith hadn't played since 1945, and he had like 6 sacks in the first game of the season. Okay,
yeah, it's true.
And then it is out there right now that the Cowboys are actively shopping 3 players: Dontari Poe, Worley, and Clown Griffin. I wouldn't give up a bag of shit for any of them. So might as well release them and just cut ties. Maybe you get a 5th for Everson Griffin, but who's giving up anything for Dontari Poe or Darryl Worley? They're not.
Yeah, bold strategy. Just try to trade all your bad players. Let me know how it works.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. So, which quarterback? Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Colin Kaepernick could probably play well, but again, I am on Team Tank, and I want nothing to do with that. Give me Garrett Gilbert.
All right.
I'm interested to see Ben DiNucci.
I don't know about you, but my mummy costume fell off, so that means I'm done.
You're falling off just like the Dallas Cowboys have already fallen off. But so this podcast today is dropping on Tuesday. We will have our normal schedule Tuesday and Thursday, and then we're also going to drop a special quick hate week special on Friday. Quick 15-20 minute podcast, which means it'll be an hour about why we each hate each other's teams, why we hate each other. Maybe we'll even have my wife and Aiden's girlfriend pop on and talk about how much they hate us. That might be fun. So make sure you check those.
That would have nothing to do with the football.
No, exactly. Which would make it more fun because she's a Cowboys fan and mine's a Eagles fan. So thank you for listening on Spotify, on Apple, on Google. Make sure you check us out on YouTube. Check out the mummy costume. Check out Chris Hansen. A huge thank you to our guest, RJ Choppy from 105.3 The Fan. And thank you to CEO Joe for stepping in when Aiden had contractual obligations. And on the Thursday show, Aiden, you want to tell the people who's joining us?
Yes, we have the one and only E-Rock, who I think when Eagles fans think of like actual Eagles fans, like prototypical Eagles fan, and I'm not talking like the stereotypical stuff. I'm talking about like actual passionate Eagles fan at the game every week, season tickets, tailgate, on social media, putting in the work, putting in the jokes. They think of E-Rock. So like if I want one person to talk about this rivalry with going into a hate week, he is on the Mount Rushmore. So I'm pretty excited to have him on. And I've actually talked with him before, and he is very, very knowledgeable in football too. So we'll get into a ton of stuff with him.
Not excited for the debate that you put up that I need to put up against him. Gonna be fun.
It'll be great.
Gonna be fun. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. This was episode 19 of Birds vs. Boys, brought to you by Stateside Vodka. Vodka made for kings and queens.
Happy Halloween.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds vs. Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Yeah. Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things. I got 2 phones. Upside alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there. There's no hope. Hope is gone.
If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes.
Bob Hope.
I'm going to drink bleach.
Be the team you promised me you were going to be this year!
This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.